guys, welcome to Sled Sessions. I'm your host, Dave Norona, Skidoo Ambassador. You're in for a long session today, so grab one beer or a couple, sit down, get comfortable, because today we're going to talk about clothing for sledding, namely layering, and how to stay warm and fresh out on the mountain. Back in the 70s, things were a little bit different. It was all about warmth, but not very breathable. And those people who were riding back there know how bad the gear was. It looked cool, and it was also pretty easy to get off, which I think was important back in the 70s. But these days, the gear is all about keeping you light and fresh so that you can work harder and work through those trees and have moisture management through your whole body so that you stay dry, comfortable, and warm throughout the entire day. Let's get started. So I'm going to share with you what I use on a daily basis when I'm out in the mountains, and I'm going to change it up for when I just sled or sled skiing, and also talk a little bit about if you live in a colder climate. I live near Whistler, which generally speaking is a pretty warm winter climate. We hover anywhere from around 0 to -10. Anytime we get colder than that, it's really cold, considered really cold here on the coast. And we do creep above 0 as well. So it's a lot different than, say, places where you're trail riding and mountain riding back east, as well as down in the United States, different from West Coast to East Coast. So we're going to cover everything here today. First and foremost, you want to have a good base layering system. And this is where a lot of people just don't pay attention. They'll either wear cotton and a t-shirt or a sweatshirt to keep warm. And what that does is it actually keeps the sweat close to your body. And before we get started, one of the things I guess I should talk about is fitness. Fitness plays a huge role in how you manage your sweat and your strength and your cardio out on the mountain. So I'm a big proponent. I come from a background in racing in over 20 years, 500 different races all over the world. So I came into this sport extremely fit. It didn't help me in other aspects of the sport, but one aspect that it did is I was rarely did I get tired, or I could go a lot longer, and I could also go harder because I could take in more cardio. So all I can say for all you sledders out there is before the season starts, right now as we talk about September, October, and November, is get out on a bike. Namely an e-bike. If you watch some of my channels, you'll know how much I love e-bikes because they provide probably the best cardio workout that you can get. And then if you don't ride an e-bike, a regular bike works just as well. Hiking works extremely well. If you watch Jeremy Mercier out there looking at also a good way to get up into zones and see what they look like in the fall time before the snow arrives. And then also if you want to build up your strength, if you need that, riding dirt bikes, trials bikes, going to the gym. I'm not a big proponent of the gym because I just don't like to go there, but I do lots of other sports as far as kiting and foil surfing and e-foiling and mountain biking and running and all hiking and all these other sports that also provide strength that you're going to need for the winter. The more fit, the better cardio you have, the stronger you are, the less you're going to be exerting and the less you're going to sweat. So the management system starts out even better. Okay, here we go. Base layer. I never thought I'd be showing on my underwear up on the camera, but this is it. I use this long underwear or this just underwear from B North, and they are an awesome company, and it provides a little bit of compression, so holds your muscles together, as well as made of really good material that'll wick sweat away from your body. I also use a moisture wicking short sleeve top. This is by Columbia, and this again does the same thing, synthetic blend that actually is quite thin and light but gets that sweat away, moving it away from your skin, which is what you want to do. And how I pair that with, depending on the day, is I'll mostly wear a long sleeve. We'll start off with lightweight, a long sleeve Skidoo long underwear top. Now there's many different blends and many different weights. This is a lightweight version in a wool, which I actually really like. As you can see, it's quite sort of see-through, so it's very lightweight for me on the coast. Those of you who are getting into colder climates will be into a mid-weight or even a heavyweight. And they both provide the same principles, but this is going to keep that moisture again away from my skin move it out towards the outer layers of the garment, and keep me dry all day long. So what I do mostly for most days on the coast is I'll wear a short sleeve and a long sleeve over. That is my base and mid layer right there. All right. If it gets colder, I'm going to move to more thick base layer. And this is actually a heavyweight in the Skidoo lineup, which I actually love. And I'll also, if it gets a little bit colder, I'll wear 2 long sleeve shirts. So I'll go from short sleeve and with a lightweight long sleeve to 2 long sleeves if it gets cold. And that's, again, my mid layer. Anything more than that for me on the coast is going to be too warm once I start moving. And a real important tip is that you should be cold when you get out of the truck. You shouldn't be warm. If you're warm standing at the truck, then you're going to be too hot as you get up the mountain and start working out. And that's a little bit about the base layers that I use. Again, with the bottoms, same thing. I just wear 1 layer on my bottoms, and this is the lightweight Skidoo. Again, I prefer the wool blend, super lightweight and just really mobile and keeps you feeling light, but again, gets that moisture away. Those who are living in a colder climate are going to go with the heavy weights or mid-weight and add that. Now, one of the tips I will give you if you do live in a really cold climate, or what I do when I sled ski, is I made the purchase of one of these. They're like a synthetic or down short. So these basically are like a 3/4 pant or short. And what they do is they just protect sort of the mid down to your thigh area for that warmth. I use them for sled skiing because generally sled skiing, you're getting a little bit colder and warmer as you go throughout the day because you're skiing down, stopping, putting your skis on the sled, then riding up. And so you're moving a lot more without moving a lot on the sled, which generally if you're moving around on the sled, you're a lot warmer. So I generally add 1 layer to my mid layer when I sled ski. And this would be one of those layers. But it's also a great layering that you can do for sledding as well. Keeps you warm in the midsection, but allows the lower section where you have knee braces or higher boots, and you don't really need pants that go right down to the bottom. And again, they just add to that base layer. So that's the base layer for me and anyone else that lives sort of on the west coast. And then as you move into colder climates, you're going to add a little bit more. And we'll talk about a mid layer. Now, a mid layer is anywhere from polar fleece. My mid layer is an extra long sleeve Skidoo top in the heavyweight, right on into really cold climates where you're actually going to get into wearing a down jacket. And this would be in the colder climates in Quebec or eastern United States, or like if you're doing more trail riding and you want like a really warm jacket, and this would be it to add into your mid layer. I would start off with a polar fleece because that's where I'd start off, and then go up from there depending on your colder climate. And this can also easily be taken off or on throughout the day wherever you need it. You know, you're riding the trails, you need this on because you're really going fast. You get off trail and you do some cool boondocking through the trees, and you take this off and put it in your tunnel bag, and then do that, then come back out, put this on for the trail ride home for lunch or all the way back home. So very cool there. This is also a part of the emco jacket, which we're going to talk about that when we get into the outer layer. So that's very cool right there. Now what I do is I don't wear any more mid layers unless I'm traveling to a colder place. I would do exactly what I've just said here, but I do carry the Skidoo packable jacket. And this pack's a little bit smaller than the one that's in the M code, and I carry this in my tunnel bag. And really, it's kind of my emergency go-to jacket if things get really bad and I have to be standing around for a while, or heaven forbid I have to spend the night out unprepared. So I can throw this jacket on, and it's going to keep me warm in my under my my jacket. And what's nice about it is it packs really small. So I generally go from what I'm going to wear from the day, and then the whole other extreme of like, oh, emergency, I need this jacket. I don't carry anything in between, and that's just what I do. But these packable jackets are, I think, one of the essential things that you need to carry in your tunnel bag all the time. Hopefully you don't need to use it, but if you do, it's there. All right, now we're going to get into the outer layer. Now your outer layer is literally just to protect you from the elements. That's where I've always come from. I come from a big background in skiing and spending all day outside, and so I want something really lightweight, something really mobile, and something that protects you from the elements. Now, I will say there's a ton of different things on the market, different materials, and I've pretty much used them all. And the biggest thing that you want to go for is you're looking at your cost and also your durability, and then how that that outerwear is going to perform breathability wise. So it's a kind of a bragging thing now that we're at to like 40,000 waterproof breathable. This is a test where they push the water and air through the permeable garment to see how waterproof and breathable it is. It tend to be more waterproof, is a little bit less breathable, takes a little bit more to push it through the garment because those pores are tighter, and less waterproof, they can be more breathable because those pores are a little bit bigger, which is a big reason why if you go to Europe, they're really big proponents of using soft shells, which are a little bit less waterproof and more breathable. Let's face it, one of the things I always talk about is I don't go snowmobiling in the pouring rain. All right, that's not really one of the fun things about it. I do start off in the rain sometimes, where I start off at low elevation where I live, and then as we climb up, it starts to snow. So I do have a big consideration of waterproof and breathability, but when I'm up actually riding, I'm not riding in the rain, I'm riding in snow. So that the difference between snow and rain is a big difference between waterproofness for sure, and it's not what a lot of people talk about. So I'm going to talk about those things and go through them and what I use and what I prefer to use. So in all honesty, when I take something out, I want it to be super lightweight, I want it to be somewhat durable, and I want it to be somewhat waterproof, breathable. Durability isn't a huge thing for me because number one, I'm not super rough on gear, and number two, I don't expect gear to last more than at least 2 seasons. Some people want gear to last for their lifetime, and that's totally fine, but you're going to choose gear based on that, and you're probably going to spend a little bit more to do that. I don't. I like styles and colors, and things change, and so I also do a lot of photos and videos, so I like, no matter what, I like changing my jacket up every couple of years, and so I'm not looking for this durability that will last forever. And again, cost is important, so I'm not going to spend $900 on a jacket ever. And so I would, that's where it balances for me. But it's going to be different for everybody. Some people want more durability, some people don't care about the cost, or they want it to be a lot less. And they maybe know about the waterproof durability. So I'm going to, again, talk a few things about that. If we're going to talk about jackets, first off, there's 2 jackets that I would look at, and this is the Skidoo lineup, obviously, the gear that I use. And I'm going to talk about the Helium 30 because I think it's actually our best piece we've ever produced. They've worked really hard at the Helium 30, and it is an amazing jacket. I will say, after being in ski gear for 20 years, it was hard to get into sled gear. I found it sort of not very agile, and I found it quite heavy. And this is the first jacket where I actually wear this to go sled skiing now, because it has replaced a lot of my ski jackets because it's super lightweight and just works extremely well. And it's the Sympatex, so it basically wicks that moisture out of the garment, or holds it in there and then pulls it away from your base and mid layers to the outer part of the jacket. It also works really well when it gets dirty, and let's face it, when we're sledding, we're going through trees, we're around machines, they can get dirty. So this is my favorite jacket, one, because it's actually very lightweight. It's just the shell. I'm a big proponent of having just the shell and nothing more, so that makes it lightweight. It's got lots of great pockets and stuff like that. But again, we're just talking about the outerwear as how it feels on your body. If you want to save some money, and I also really like the emco jacket, all right? Now the emco jacket, as we talked about before, is paired with that down jacket on the inside. It's 2 pieces, and you can zip out the inside piece in the down jacket, and that's what I use. I use that just to get to the hill in the morning, use it to get ready so it gets wet, and the last thing I put on is my jacket before I put my pack on, and that would be in this emco jacket. So the weight of these two, of the Helium and the emco, is actually very similar when we're talking about the shells. The difference is in the waterproofness and breathability. So again, this jacket in the emco is a way to save money, but still have great waterproof, breathable material. And it still works well when I leave the truck in the rain. Again, I'm not riding in the rain, so I can actually go down a couple of levels. This is a 10,000 waterproof breathability, and the Helium 30 is 30,000. So roughly 3 times better. And in all honesty, I don't really notice a difference in that. It's not saying that the Helium isn't worth it, and that maybe I don't notice it, but there is. But in price savings for those who want to, this is an awesome jacket to have. And it's a great way to save money, which means you can have 2 jackets over 1 jacket. And that is actually more important to me than having 1 amazing jacket, is having 2 really good jackets that work very well at a cost-effective price. And you really get that in the M code. So it's important to sometimes that you're not always just spending more money doesn't mean it's always that much better. So here we go with the M-Code jacket. Something I like. I also like the colors that they do. They both have powder skirts, and you'll get a little bit more with the Helium in the zips than over the M-Code. And again, that comes down to price. The more venting and more zippers, the cost goes up. So something also to consider about that. It's really hard to beat the Helium jacket, but if you're more price conscious, then the M code is really where it's at. And both of them perform really well in the backcountry. When we talk about jackets, we're going to talk about pants. This is the Helium 30 pant, and absolutely love this pant. I'm not a big fan of black. I much prefer when they do the colors on pants. But a lot of people like black, and when you're around machines, again, you want to keep it dark so that it hides all the marks. Now, I am a huge fan of these bib pants. Number one, they fit really well. They come actually with knee pads, which I take out because I use knee braces, so there's the ability to put them in and take them out. And when you take them out, the pant is also a lot lighter. And I'm always bugging the engineers of clothing, if I could tell them to do one thing, is even get rid of more in clothing material to make them even lighter. But it comes down to a durability thing. So someone who wants really good durability, they want that extra layer of protection, the inside a little bit more warmth, and for someone like me, they want less of it. So it's a real fine balance between that, and that's why you have to try this clothing on to see which stuff works the best for you. There is also an M-Code pant. It's an insulated, full insulated pant, so I don't use it much here on the coast, but it would be great for someone on the East Coast and something a little bit colder climates. Again, you could still use this pant, and it means that you're just going to maybe double up your long underwear from Skidoo, or you're going to wear these down shorts, or you've got another pair of pants that you wear over your long underwear, and then the pants. Again, many different layering systems. The important thing is to layer so you can take these garments on and off throughout the day and then find out what works for you in the right temperatures. So that's the Helium pant, and something I love. I go back between pants and jacket and the onesie, which we're going to talk about next. So a few years ago, onesies sort of came back into style, and people were like, I'm never going to wear those. I was one of those guys that was probably not going to wear one. But I will tell you, it's my favorite go-to suit nowadays. I go back and forth, and there are pros and cons for sure to wearing both. What I like about the jacket and pants, it seems lighter overall. You can really find the lightest possible weight in that Helium 30. It's an 8 out of 10. It's not there yet, guys, but we're going to get there for sure, is making it the way I want to make it. And these are a little bit heavier, but they're generally warmer. And I wear these on more storm days. Deep days, I would prefer to be in a onesie suit than a jacket and pants. And they're just because they're the one piece, they keep a little bit of heat in. The number one thing when we're talking about onesies is fit. They need to fit you. So you need to try them on. If you're a small in one brand, you're not a small across the brand, different brands. So you need to go into your shop and try them. So I have two onesies here right today, and this is the Helium onesie, and this is the Onesie Suit. So this is basically helium Sympatex material, and this is not. This is that same emco material, about 10,000 waterproof breathable, and this is up to 30,000 waterproof breathable. So the difference is this suit is a little bit heavier. It's a little bit more bomber. I would say it lasts a lot longer. They're about the same age, and this one looks a lot better. It will last longer. So the cost on this is close to $1,000, and the cost to this is $500. So basically, again, it comes down to what you want to pay for and what you're looking for in a suit. I absolutely love this suit. I love everything about it, except the price. When you're looking at this suit here at half the price, I could get 2 of them. And again, I've never been wet in this suit. So again, I don't ride in the pouring rain. If I did, this would be a much better purchase. But because I don't, I'm in snow, and the snow isn't as permeable as rain into the garment is. And I do start off in rain, like I said before. The Onesie Suit is the one that I prefer because it's lighter weight, it feels lighter, it's less waterproof, breathable, but I'm not riding in the rain, so there's no thing there, and it's half the price. So it really comes down to what you're comfortable with. Both of them are durable. I will say this one won't last as long as this one. For me, that's not as important because every couple of seasons, or I'm going to look for a new color scheme. I want it to, look fresh and all those sorts of things. I like these onesies so much, I've actually worn them pow surfing or sled skiing off my machine. They are not good for touring, obviously, for obvious reasons. When you ski tour up, you get really warm, you need to take your jacket off, and you can't do that with these. But for sled skiing or snowboarding off your machine, these onesies are awesome. So again, you've got one suit that does it all, but you can do that with a jacket and pants as well. So hopefully that answers some of your questions about layering. So the first #1 rule is to get out and get some exercise, get fit so that you're stronger out there, have better cardio, that you're not over strenuous on your system, and that'll keep your sweat and your heart rate down. And then make sure you layer with a proper base layer that's going to wick that sweat away and keep it away from you. Add a mid layer if you need to, depending on the coldness of where you live. And then look for one of these awesome outer shells that you can add to protect you from the outside elements. That's also going to be nice and keep you nice and warm and dry all day. So another tip that I can offer if you're really new to this and it changes and you can't figure it out is to have a little journal of what you wore on the temperature and the conditions for that day. It sounds funny, but I always kept a journal for racing just because then you can go back year to year and make adjustments and see what you did before. And the same is true when we're talking about clothing. You can see what you wore so that when you look down the list and go, oh yeah, this is a day, it's -20 out, sunny skies, 2 feet of fresh pow, you're going to wear that, you're going to go back and see, this is what I wore that time and this is what I'm going to do. And I was a little bit cold on my head, so I'll add a balaclava to that, or I'll add an extra layer just in my backpack, and you're off. And then you can rely on what works for you, because everybody's a little bit different, and that's really important to state. So hopefully I've given you some ideas on #1, how to layer. #2, get into your local snowmobile shop and try on all these products. That's what they're there for. Try them on, try different brands, try things you've never tried before, and get the ones that you're most comfortable with and where you want to spend your hard-earned money. We'll see you out there in the backcountry.